Remember when the Blair Witch Project had audiences convinced it was real? Or when Snakes on a Plane embraced its meme-worthy chaos? Some stunts were genius, and others, well, they were total train wrecks. Let's explore the wild, over-the-top stunts filmmakers pulled just to get you into that theater seat. To start, we'll cover the success stories, the stunts that worked so well they became part of movie history. But don't worry, we'll get to the disasters soon enough. Imagine a horror movie so terrifying, so believable that people genuinely thought the actors were missing. But how would two unknown independent filmmakers with no real budget and no studio support ever deliver anything close to this? Well, it all started with a wild idea and a camera. In the late 90s, aspiring indie filmmakers Daniel Myrick and Eduardo Sanchez were desperate for their big break. Still film students at the time, they decided to take a radical approach to filming a low-budget horror film, The Blair Witch Project. They cast unknown actors, handed them cameras, and ditched a traditional script, providing only loose outlines and letting the cast improvise. The result was shaky, disorienting footage that felt like authentic, raw found footage. But the job was far from complete. Determined to sell the illusion, they plastered missing person posters of the actors around college campuses and film festivals, listing their real names and creating the impression that the footage was real. Then they launched a website filled with fake police reports, fabricated news articles, and fictional Blair Witch lore. Visitors could read journal entries from the missing students and view their recovered footage. The site racked up over 20 million hits before the film's release, an unprecedented feat for the era. To add to the illusion, they produced a fake documentary, Curse of the Blair Witch, which aired on the Sci-Fi Channel. It featured staged interviews with historians and locals, further convincing audiences that the legend and the footage were real. The website and the online buzz it generated made people genuinely question whether the footage was real. Message boards were flooded with speculation and audiences were hooked before they even stepped into the theater. So how did everyone respond to the final product after all the buildup? The Blair Witch Project premiered at the Sundance Film Festival, quickly attracting attention and leading Artisan Entertainment to acquire distribution rights for $1.1 million. With a production budget of just $60,000, and post-production and marketing expenses bringing the total cost to around $500,000, the film went on to gross nearly $250 million worldwide. This massive success delivered an astonishing 4,000% return on investment, making it widely considered to be the highest return on investment film of all time. And it was all made possible by that groundbreaking marketing strategy and the unforgettable mystery it created. And while the Blair Witch Project changed the game for viral marketing, The Dark Knight took it to a whole nother level with a campaign that blurred the lines between fiction and reality. After the success of Batman Begins in 2005, director Christopher Nolan wanted to build an immersive world for the sequel. One where the audience didn't just watch the story unfold, but felt like they were part of it. But how do you achieve that without a finished movie? That is where Warner Bros. Came in with its groundbreaking marketing campaign, which blurred the lines between fiction and reality. Over a year before the film's release, they launched an alternate reality game, pulling fans into Gotham's descent into madness. At comic book stores and events, fans discovered Jokerized dollar bills with the message,
"Why so serious?"
scrawled across them. They even staged real-world scavenger hunts, sending players across cities to uncover hidden clues tied to Gotham's criminal underworld. And online, the WhySoSerious.com website featured fake news reports, police bulletins, and Gotham election campaigns, making it feel like the city truly existed. Fans could solve riddles, receive cryptic Joker messages, and watch Gotham spiral into chaos long before the film hit theaters. And in one of the most bizarre stunts, the studio sent 12 phones hidden in cakes to select fans. And when they answered, they heard a chilling message from the Joker, further blurring the line between fiction and reality. It was a masterclass in immersive marketing. So did it work? When The Dark Knight hit theaters, it grossed over $1 billion worldwide, becoming the first superhero movie to reach that milestone. With a production budget of $185 million and roughly $100 million spent on marketing, its groundbreaking campaign played a major role in this success. The film achieved a 900% return on investment, proving just how powerful innovative marketing can be in shaping a film's legacy. By now I think we all know and love Deadpool, but before it was released, R-rated superhero movies were pretty rare, and with a modest budget compared to other superhero films, the movie was a pretty big gamble. The filmmakers knew they needed to play their cards right if they were going to make it work. So how do you sell an R-rated superhero movie when the industry's dominated by PG-13 blockbusters? The answer came down to a combination of strategy and risk-taking. 20th Century Fox knew that the film's success would rely on an unconventional approach, and they took full advantage of Ryan Reynolds' commitment. Not only was he hard at work on set, but after filming wrapped, the studio kept him in the spotlight, tapping into his passion for the character to bring the film's irreverent tone to the marketing. With viral videos, pranks, and social media stunts, the studio made sure the campaign echoed Deadpool's rebellious spirit, making it feel like the character was running the show. One of the first bold moves by the studio was the Valentine's Day promos. Instead of relying on the typical romantic imagery, the studio turned tradition on its head, using Deadpool's humor to market the film in a way no other superhero movie had. But that was just the beginning. Fox also seized the opportunity to mix humor with real-world issues, creating a public service announcement parody for testicular cancer awareness. It was a clever and unexpected tie-in that captured attention while staying true to Deadpool's signature tone. As the campaign gained momentum, Fox continued to capitalize on Deadpool's offbeat nature. In March of 2015, they revealed Deadpool's iconic costume with a parody of the famous Burt Reynolds magazine shoot, turning the moment into an instant viral hit. Then for April Fools, they turned things up a notch, with Reynolds pranking audiences by announcing that the film would be family-friendly, only to end up murdering Mario Lopez in brutal fashion and reveal that Deadpool would, of course, remain R-rated. It was a stunt that reinforced the rebellious spirit of both the character and the studio's approach to marketing.
Is the mask muffling my voice?
But the surprises didn't stop there. For Super Bowl 50, Fox arranged for Reynolds to run a taco truck on the Friday before the big game, serving Deadpool's favorite food, chimichangas. It created a moment that felt fresh and stayed true to Deadpool's unconventional style. So would all these bold moves be enough to make the film succeed? Well, if you were betting on Deadpool being a huge success, congratulations, you've won. Made on a modest $58 million budget, the film grossed over $780 million worldwide, proving that creativity and embracing the audience's humor could lead to success, even for a film that many thought had little chance of making a splash. But as much as we've seen marketing triumphs that change the game, not every campaign has been as successful. Sometimes the hype just doesn't translate, and what seemed like a good idea on paper ends up crashing and burning. Take for example the infamous Snakes on a Plane, a film that became as much a meme as a movie. It had everything going for it on the surface. An insane concept, a catchy title, and a star in Samuel L. Jackson. But when it came to marketing, things didn't go as planned. The title Snakes on a Plane was impossible to ignore. It told you everything you needed to know. Snakes, a plane, chaos. It was straightforward and absurd, which caught the attention of audiences long before the film was released. But here's where this one gets a little different. The marketing team didn't spend millions on a multi-layered ARG or create an interactive website. In fact, the campaign didn't even take itself very seriously. Instead, they leaned into the slapstick nature of the film and embraced the viral internet-driven meme culture of the time. The movie's absurd premise was already meme gold, so the marketing team leaned into that by getting the audience involved in ways that felt organic to the film's tone. One of the biggest turning points for the campaign came when a fan-made trailer was created using early footage from the film, including the now iconic line,
"I have had it with these snakes on this plane."
The trailer went viral, and this moment became a central part of the film's marketing. Fans went wild over it, and recognizing the viral momentum, the filmmakers made sure the line was included in the final version of the movie. They also played into the internet meme culture with fan-made posters and viral campaigns that encouraged fans to share their own ridiculous ideas. They even encouraged fan-created content like video contests and custom posters, all of which contributed to building the film's meme status. Fans online embraced the ridiculousness, but it didn't bring in the audience the studio was hoping for. Instead of the viral momentum turning into box office gold, the film got stuck in the so bad it's good category. It quickly became apparent that the actual film didn't live up to the hype. While it might have been memorable for its chaotic marketing, its box office numbers told a different story. It grossed only $62 million worldwide, against a $33 million budget. Not exactly a win for its wild marketing efforts. And the film went on to become a cult classic, sure, but it didn't manage to live up to the massive expectations the campaign had set. In the end, Snakes on a Plane serves as a perfect example of how a good concept and an even greater marketing campaign can't save a film if the execution falls flat. Does size matter? Well, according to Roland Emmerich's 1998 rendition of Godzilla, size does matter. And the studio took this to heart with a massive marketing campaign that practically stomped through pop culture. By the late 90s, Hollywood was entrenched in the blockbuster era, with studios vying to replicate the massive success of films like Jurassic Park and Independence Day. Amidst this competitive landscape, Sony aimed to make a significant impact with its own tentpole release. Enlisting Roland Emmerich, the director behind Independence Day, Sony's Godzilla was positioned to be a colossal hit. The studio invested heavily, allocating over $50 million to marketing alone, making the campaign almost as big as the film itself. But rather than showing their monster outright, the marketing team played it coy. Instead of revealing Godzilla, they teased it with cryptic ads that left everything to the imagination. Billboards had taglines like, "His foot is as long as this bus," and "He's as tall as the Brooklyn Bridge." The trailers showed only glimpses, a tail slithering through the fog, or a massive footprint dwarfing everything around it. The message was clear. This wasn't just a monster, it was the monster. And Sony didn't stop there. They went bigger, literally. Giant inflatable Godzillas burst from rooftops and storefront displays, turning everyday buildings into dramatic scenes of destruction. Massive footprints stomped through public places, giving the impression that Godzilla had already arrived and left chaos in his wake. And after months of this larger-than-life marketing, millions of dollars, and more build-up than any monster movie in history, audiences finally got to see the new Godzilla on the big screen. Wait, what? It turns out all those ads about skyscraper-sized feet? Yeah, the monster was actually only about 200 feet long, closer to a T-Rex than the towering behemoth fans were promised. But here's the thing, despite the monster being smaller than advertised, the campaign itself was not. Godzilla pulled in $379 million at the box office, and with a $130 million production budget, that might sound like a monster-sized success. But once you factor in the film's $50 to $70 million marketing campaign and distribution costs, the profit margins were disappointing. And while it technically was profitable, it's still considered a disappointment, both financially and critically. Sony had planned it as the first of a trilogy, but after the lackluster reception, they quietly canceled the sequels. In the end, the real giant wasn't the monster on screen, it was the marketing itself. And while Godzilla may have been smaller than promised, the campaign was larger than life, proving once again that in Hollywood, size really does matter. Sometimes marketing is so clever it becomes as memorable as the film itself. And sometimes, it oversells the film so much that the hype is bigger than what we actually get. But when it works, it works. Sometimes the craziest ideas are the ones that actually pay off. Speaking of insane ideas that almost didn't work, did you know Back to the Future was nearly scrapped halfway through filming? Or that the Time Machine was originally supposed to be a fridge? Seriously. It's a miracle that movie even exists. Go ahead, click on over and check out my video on the topic. And hey, if you're still watching and haven't subscribed yet, what are you even doing?